Okay, good morning, Jesse. How are you today?
Good, Ben. How are you, pal?
It's really great to speak to you again. I always enjoy our conversations. It's so fascinating to hear the stuff that you've been doing with what lies in your debt. Jesse, tell us the news. What's been going on recently?
Well, I just started to tell you that our members this year have really, some of the members, let me put this way, some of the members that have been there for 5, 6, 7 months and have really started to learn the processes here. So far, I have one member, March 8th, and I believe it was through March 30 or March 8th through May 15th or 16th, made $41,000.
Between March and May, you made $41,000.
Yeah. If you keep up with the emails, and I know you've been busy, but if you were to keep up the emails, I send out copies of the checks to everybody on our list, and they can see what our members are doing. And the average member, I would say, this year average has made somewhere in the neighborhood of $7,000 to $10,000, just mostly on the bogus phone calls, which is what we're doing next Tuesday. We take the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, simple act. And in today's day and age, with landlines being rarity, which they are here in the States, I don't know where you're at, but in the States, it's very much a rarity if people have landlines anymore. These
Right.
debt collectors and bankers and attorneys just start calling people's cell phone. And what people don't understand is that the simplicity of the act says that if I don't give you express consent, which is the two words, consent obviously is the big one, but express consent, you have no right to call my cell phone, and that's a minimum of $500 all the way up to $1,500 if you persist, like me. God, I wish you could show it on this call. But I got about 4, 5, 800 calls on my one phone. Each one of those calls in Florida is worth 3,500.
So
Uh,
every time one of these debt collectors calls without permission, it's a violation of the law, right?
yeah, it's a TCPA, the Telephone Consumer Protection Act.
And there's a statutory amount of compensation that
Minimum, yeah, minimum. Even if it's a mistake, is $500.
right. And if people don't know this, then they can't go and claim this money.
Right. So then when you add, logic, right? 2 and 2 is 4, not 4.5. So when you say, okay, you called me, so obviously the intent of the call was for what? To collect the debt. So now you violated the FDCPA, the Federal Debt Collection Practices Act. So now you add the two, it's a minimum of $1,500, maximum of $2,500, depending on the judge's mood for the day. Of course, you asked for the $2,500. Yeah, and if you happen to ask, because the TCPA offers triple damages. So 500 for the first, if you persist and you keep calling intentionally, it's 1,500 thereafter. Yeah,
This is insane. Hang on. So somebody made 41. One of your members made $41,000 from claiming these amounts.
yeah.
It's hard to believe. So there's actual pictures of. I mean,
It's
some
not
of our
hard to believe.
listeners. I mean, that's more than some people. That's more than most people make in a year. So let's imagine that some of our listeners are skeptical about this, or skeptical that this is possible. You said you got pictures of the actual check. Is that on your website?
That's right. That's that. And it's not only it's on our website, it goes out to them. If they go to What Lies in Your Debt and they join on the left-hand side, there's a opt-in for our mailing list that you can become a regular on the mailing list, and you get all the latest information on the free calls and everything else that's there. You'll see I'm logging into the site as we speak. So, of course, I've said this from the very beginning, almost 3 years ago when you and I talked the very first time when I launched the site, that we will always show proof of what our members are doing. And that's what we do. We show the checks, we get everything done, and there's no uh, hiding anything. I'm getting here. Hold on one second. Let me get to this area. I'm going to read exactly. Here's another 5,000 and 3,500. Just
Insane.
showed up. $17,500 without filing anything.
I mean, just out of interest, is that taxable income?
Zero tax
Zero tax. Why is that?
because it's damages.
It's damages, so there's no tax on damages.
Correct. Here's one. He just got 17.5. He says, "Hi group. I'm excited. We just signed an agreement uh, for just the pending notice of lawsuit for 57 calls."
How much
So
time?
basically, remember, my process doesn't sue right off the bat. We have a process. We give them an opportunity to cure, no different than they would give us an opportunity to cure. So I send them out a notice of pending lawsuit. You violated this. This is the proof. Here's the evidence. Here's the phone log, the picture, whatever it is that you have as evidence. So you give them a chance to reduce and avoid the litigation costs.
Right. So
Might talk to.
the
I'm
company
sorry.
they'll often choose to settle prior to a court case, will they?
Yeah, and we have a pretty substantial history of 33%, 33%, 33%. Just never seems to fail. Very, very solid. 33% of them will settle with the first letter. 33% will settle as soon as you file the lawsuit. And 33% will settle as soon as you go to the 26F meeting or you start discovery. It's very constant. I mean, this is very, very easy to go back and.
Wow.
Yeah, here's another one. $10,000 more from a debt collector beat down, as he says. Yeah, he says, no magic, simply study. It's true, there's no magic here. Here's another one. This gentleman here. Okay, family, I want to inspire you, learn and execute and hold accountable. I knew nothing about consumer law, TCPA, FDCPA, RESPA, none of it until I joined What Lies in Your Debt and started listening to support calls on Mondays, Wednesdays, Tuesdays, and here it is, $16,000. See for yourself, the program works. See,
Wow.
we do this because we want everybody, we call it the success stories section of our forum. So all the members that even get a $500 check share it in there because that gives everybody an attaboy. It's a pat in the back.
Yeah.
So it works out. I'm trying to find that $41,000 guy.
Listen, how many hours worth of work has it taken that person in order to claim $41,000 in damages? How many letters, how many hours on the phone has it taken them?
I don't know how long it took him, but I can give you an example of one, which is right here. It says, got another grand for pocket money on a credit pool. Not all checks are big, but when was the last time you got a grand for 45 minutes of work tops?
Right. Tax free.
Yeah. Here it is. Yeah, here it is, right here. Let me find this. I laugh at these things, and I thank God that they're doing it. It says, well, family, I'm back again to tell you that this is the best program on the net. I know this sounds rehearsed, Ben. I mean, it really does, and I'm sorry, but these are testimonials right from our site that anybody listening can go see them. I've spent $50 per month for 10 months to gain a wealth of knowledge that leads me to the money every time. As of now, since March 8th, 2013, and his post was May 21st, I'm sorry, it says, I have collected over $41,000, comma, yes, you were seeing it right, $41,000 since I got the courage up to start filing. I have settled 3 more TCPA lawsuits, 9 calls to my wireless number, 5,000. Second was 2 calls to my wireless number for settlement of 3,500, and I just sent a notice of intent for phone calls. I asked for 5,000, and they settled for 3,500. So in reality, I've been a member for 10 months, paid $500 with a return of $41,000. Where on earth can you get that type of profit?
Wow.
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, I've seen a lot of the members doing well, and it makes you feel good that what you did and the goal of your system is actually coming to fruition.
Right.
People are understanding it, people are using it. Thanks to you and your listeners, we actually have members in the UK and Canada. We got members everywhere. So, it's working. And again, for $49 a month, to learn and to study. I don't know where else you're going to get that kind of return, not even on the stock market nowadays,
Right. Now, people can come to the website and they can listen to the conference calls for free, right, without paying anything,
Yeah.
and they can join the newsletter for free just to familiarize themselves with what you're doing.
Yeah.
So
it's all free. Just go to What Lies in Your Debt, and then they go over to the left-hand side, and there's the email, login. Of course, we always tell everybody, listen, you have nothing to lose. Go join, pay up. You got 60 days, no questions asked, 100% money back guarantee. I challenge anybody listening to go to Google, do a search on What Lies in Your Debt, and find one negative or adverse comment. There's none. Zero. There's a
Right.
reason for that. So you have nothing to lose. You can test drive this thing for 60 days for free. Absolutely free. Costs you nothing. Because if you don't like it, you get 100% of your money back and you've used the damn thing for 2 months. Now, how many things can you do for 2 months and get your money back if you don't like it? You can't drive a car for 2 months after you spent $40,000 on a car and say, man, I really just don't like it. You
Yeah.
kind of out of luck.
And I know it really is risk free because you manage your membership program via ClickBank. And so if people are dissatisfied, they don't even come to you, to get a refund. They just get it via ClickBank. It's nothing to do. You don't manage any of that, right?
No, I don't even know what happens.
Yeah.
All I get is a dang
Yeah.
uh,
So it really is risk free. If people want to become a member and if they are dissatisfied, which they won't be, but if they are, they really can get their money back with no problem. I know that for a fact. So
yeah, it's zero. It's 100% free risk. Literally, you have no risk. None. Zero. And that's the beautiful thing about it. If, in fact, you can do that and test drive it, and you say, you know what's too much for me, I can't handle this, I can't do this kind of stuff, whatever, good, go on. It's not like some of the other stuff that's out there running around, all this, God, I don't want to beat it down, but at the end of the day, when you get a lot of this Patriot stuff out there that these guys want to charge $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 up front, and if you don't like it, you're not getting any money back.
yeah, yeah,
There's no test driving it there.
no,
Administrative process stuff. That's the word I'm looking
yeah, yeah.
for.
Jesse, you're doing something next Tuesday. Just explain what that is to us.
Yeah, that's the TCPA takedown. It's the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, and what we do is every year during the summer, because it's the lull of the summer. The kids are out of school. Some of them go off to camp, whatever. Mom or dad have a little bit of time to sit at home. And last year was very productive. We did the Summer Slam last year, which was all about taking their money. This year we're doing the TCPA takedown, which is simple enough. It's only going to be a month and a half, 2 months. And what it is it's showing you how to collect on all these phone calls. It's the whole principle of it is to really dial it in and dissect what I do, how I do it. Because I've been very successful with the TCPA along with some of the members. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to have a couple of the members explain how they've done it and their process and what they've went through. So it's going to be a fun deal for everybody, But it's something to do in the summer. It's every other Tuesday night. It's not every week. It's every other Tuesday from 8 Eastern till whenever we get done. Usually it's 2.5 hours. And it's a break. We hear a lot of the moms and dads say, it's perfect time to grab a cold beer or a cup of coffee and sit down and learn something. And it's a break away from reality. They go,
Right.
because it's interesting people just can't fathom that. Man, are you kidding me? Really? Just like you said, my phone rings, and rather than being panicked or scared or feeling sick or angry, you feel it's almost like rejoicing, like, wow, there's another $500 or another $1,000 or $1,500. Depends where you live. Hell, for me, it's $3,500 in Florida. So I just say, wow, I got another $3,500.
Right.
When I go to my mailbox and I grab a letter from a debt collector, I laugh all the way. My wife just says, well, how much money did we make today? Because it's $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a letter. To me, Ben, I made well over $100,000 last year, tax-free money from these cases.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, what gets me is when I say that, and I say that proudly because I work hard and I put in thousands of hours, and I still do, to learn and study the stuff and keep it up. And then you have one of your guys on your YouTube, smart ass listeners, will say, oh, well, if you're making so much money, why don't you give it for free? Well, what do you give for free? I'm supposed to give my time for free? It doesn't make any sense. And there's no appreciation.
Yeah.
When you give it. When you pay for something, you appreciate it and you actually use it. If it's free, it just never gets done. And I refuse to give my time away for free. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
It's simple as that.
Now,
So
if people want to become a member and learn what you're teaching, they can go via my website, benlarry.com/debt. And how do they get involved with this thing you're doing on Tuesday? Do they have to be a
they have
member
to be
first?
they have to be a member.
Right.
It's only open to the membership. We've tried, with ClickBanks, and this. ClickBanks is very strict the way they do things.
Yeah.
So it's not like I can have a whole separate program and charge separately. And if I try to go outside of ClickBank, they can cancel your account. I don't want to do that. You know what affiliate marketing is, and you know exactly what our ClickBank looks like. And we're up there. They really like us because we have very low refund rate, no chargeback rates. our site is considered a very good site considering all the scam stuff that's on the internet.
Yeah.
So, from a ClickBank standpoint, we are up there, way up there, on good behavior.
Yeah.
Want to call it,
And I know that for a fact. I mean, you and me have been speaking for a couple of years, and I've been promoting your course, and I know for a fact that the refund rate is very low. The customers and the members are very satisfied. I know that for a fact. I've seen you and your team be consistent. For the last
It's
few
3 years.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 3 years now.
Yeah.
So, our refund rates manage between 3% and 5 being the very, very high end, and the way ClickBank does it's very funky, but on the average it's less than 3% with zero chargebacks. So, people are in and they stay in. Our average member stays 18 to 20 months, and then they make enough money or they've learned the system enough that they don't need it anymore. And then what's funny is some of them will leave for 2 or 3 months and they go, wait a minute, I miss it, so they come back. Because it's, for $50 a month, listen, if you've made, $5, $10, $15,000, what's $700 for the year? Who cares?
Right.
You have a community that you can always fall back on if you get in a bind, and it's something that, we do. Dave out in Dallas does our Monday night call. He's done it for 4 years. This last Tuesday was the 4th year of the call. We do our Tuesday night call. We do every other Tuesday webinar. We do a Wednesday night call that Terry hosts. We do a Wednesday webinar. Every Wednesday we do a webinar. And I have 4 people doing webinars. That includes me. So Dave and John and Larry and myself, we all do webinars because we all have our own little expertise. And the forum, how much more support and how much more time and effort do you want for $50 a month from people? That's $50 will buy you a lousy dinner, not even a good dinner. So, for one mediocre dinner, you can have a wealth of knowledge. And not only that, but it turns around and makes you money. I mean, literally, if you put it to work for you, there's nothing out there. Not even, I'm telling you, there's not an investment out there that makes this kind of return. It's ridiculous.
It's yeah. I mean, it's kind of it's it's hard to believe, isn't it? That
it is. It really
is. But something that people always ask me is, does this stuff apply in the UK? Do you have UK members that are making it work?
We do have UK members learning. They're still learning because the laws there are just a little different. But believe it or not, they're not much different. And it's the same in the Canada area. In some of the Toronto area, we have 2 or 3 members, and it's the same there. They have to cross-reference their laws. I've been trying to find, as you know, a good UK person to work with so I can put all the UK stuff on the site. And I haven't been able to find one in 3 years.
Right.
Apparently you guys don't care if they harass you.
Yeah, it seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it because I'm like, come on, let's do this. It'll be great. And I can't get anybody to do it. But the laws are the same. I mean, literally, if you really do know what's going on behind the scenes, Canada and the UK and the US are all the same. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
They're out to screw their people, so it doesn't matter. And here's the deal. I always said this. An educated public is a dangerous public.
Yeah.
And that works UK and that works worldwide. It doesn't matter. If they have TV, anywhere in the world, they try to dumb you down. It's just that simple. And again, it seems so ridiculously easy that it almost is not true. It's almost like a conspiracy theory. My phone rings, I make $1,500. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Have you been to the news section of our site in the last week?
No.
Okay, I'm going to give you a perfect example. I want you, after we're done with our call, go to the news section and watch a 5-minute video of this guy on the street corner who owns a major website, and I'm not going to promote his website, but you'll see it there, trying to sell a $50 gold coin for $20, right. And he can't sell it. That's how uneducated and brain dead Americans are.
Right.
He's standing in front of a gold coin shop, and he says, come on, we can go in there and verify it, and they'll give you a substantial profit. I just need the $20 right now. Come on. No, thank you. No, nobody even bothered to touch it.
Right.
Because they have no clue. That's my point. Again, it was surreal to see a guy trying to sell a $50 Canadian calling for 20 bucks.
Yeah, and when you say people can get $500 per phone call from a debt collector, it seems surreal, doesn't it? It seems unbelievable, you know.
Right, but you know what? You can go read the TCPA yourself. It's black and white, very simple, and the process of it is simple because if you do, again, you know, Ben, I told you this years ago. Specialized knowledge is power. Knowledge is not power. You got your head full of a bunch of nonsense, and so do I. It doesn't do us any good.
Hmm.
The specialized things I know is what makes me all the money.
Yeah.
You know, I've said this a long time ago, and I used to teach all our students way back when I was doing a lot of real estate. I was flipping a lot of real estate. We had a big company here in Florida. And I used to tell all my students, specialized knowledge is power. Knowledge is not power. That's another one of them dumbed down type uh, sayings.
Hmm.
Knowledge. How many people have a ton of knowledge in their head and can't make a penny with it?
Hmm.
Useless, right?
Right.
So, you know, specialized knowledge is power. And that's what I try to teach is specialized knowledge. And again, with the TCPA, it reads simply $500 or $1,500. It's very simple. It's black and white. It's the specialized knowledge. So when I send Ben Lowry, the attorney, right, a picture of my cell phone with the timestamp that says, here's your phone number, or here's the client's phone number, here's the date, here's the time, and the picture shows it's a cell phone, do I need any more evidence? You have no argument.
Right.
You see, that's why it works.
There's the facts, there's the law. There's nothing to defend, is there?
There's nothing. Now you could be a crooked attorney and want to take your client's money and say, oh, well, let's go ahead and file and I'll make myself $2,000.
Right.
You know, but most of them just say, nah, it's not worth it. Just pay it.
Now, I'm guessing the telephone stuff is relatively simple to deal with, but how are your members getting on with the mortgage type of stuff? Because I know that's a little bit more complicated, right?
They're doing fantastic. I look at it this way. Simply enough. Matter of fact, we were talking about this yesterday. We do a little call on Wednesday. That's why I was sleeping until 9 this morning. We're up late, man. But the simplicity of it is this. If you were paying $1,000, $1,500, or $3,000 a month for your mortgage, and you use our system to stay in that home for 2, 3, 4 years, you've made anywhere from $50,000 to $150,000 in savings.
Right.
Is it worth $50 a month?
Sure it is.
That's it. Free houses are a thing that it's very rare that'll ever happen. I personally have never seen, with all these claims and everybody makes, I've yet to see one myself.
Right.
You know, all my personal foreclosures, I have 6 of them still. And they're all in limbo 5.5 years later. My wife and I figured out our personal home. We've saved around $284,000 in 5.5 years.
Right.
I'm almost to my goal. I put $300,000 down on this home, cash money.
Right.
So I've gotten mine back here in the next few months, and then I'm square. Then I can lose and walk away, and I'm fine because you know what? I got 5.5 years. I've been saving. I've been the responsible guy, whether $50 a month or $500 a month. I've been saving what I can, because I know that someday, eventually, they're going to throw you out.
Right.
But you know what? I've won.
Right. Actually,
In my mind, I've won. You know, I don't need the free house.
it's great to hear that honesty because there's so many charlatans out there that will make claims about what's possible, you know, when they haven't really achieved it themselves in terms of getting properties free and clear and stuff.
Well, you know, I tell them all the time, show me. You
Yeah.
never can. Oh, you know, it's private, or oh, that person didn't want me to share it with anybody, you know, for this reason. Okay, then you're just lying to me, and you're trying to take $5,000 or $3,500 from
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah.
That ain't right. That's not right. So, you know, I find it amazing that somebody will pay $3,000 or $4,000 for this lip service and this fantasy, and they'll go, "Well, I'm not paying $49 a month. That just seems like it's too much money." Not, you know. Like really, you just got ripped off. I bet you we have 100 plus members that have been ripped off for $3,000 or more over the last 2 years.
Hmm.
And they'll tell the members on the open calls, don't pay so and so. It's a rip off. I mean, they're pissed, you know, and rightly so.
Hmm.
They're upset. So, you know, we try to keep it honest, and you know we can't. We have to with ClickBanks, and that's part of our we're like the Home Depot of debt collection.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you don't like it, just go back and ask for your money. Nobody gives you a hard time. And we try to stay clean, honest, and up above board on everything we do. And you always get the negative people out there, the doubters, and we don't care. We have enough members, and our members are doing great, and their families are prospering. When you get a member that calls you 3 days before Christmas and says, I had no money for kids for the holidays, and now I just collected $7,000. It literally brought tears to my eyes.
Hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Those are real stories. I mean, hell, 3 days before Christmas, and you finally get a check for 7,000. This is the best Christmas we've had in 5 years.
Yeah. So, so let's make it clear to people exactly what they need to do if they want to come and learn this stuff. So they can go via my website, benlarry.com/debt. When they get to the page, what do they need to do? Do you recommend they join the newsletter, or should they just become a member straight away? What do you recommend?
My personality is curiosity, so I don't ever waste time. I suggest they jump to the site and just join. You got 60 days. If you don't like it, so what? You don't like it, you don't like it. Go back, get your money back. No big deal.
Hmm.
Ben, something I'll tell you this, and maybe your listeners have never, and maybe we ought to have another call sometime soon. But I'm working on a radio station. I don't know if I told you or not. So
Oh.
I might have you coming in as a radio host.
Hey.
You're one of the ones I was thinking about. Seriously, I'm really working on getting my own radio station. But anyway,
Wow.
yeah, it's gonna be neat. I tell people this, and it just so happens. Of course, I'm 45 years old. My father-in-law just passed away May 2nd. Probably one of the most intellectual men I've ever met. IQ up in the 180s, 190s. I mean, Mensa type guy, just in-depth thinker. And I grew up with him, literally. I've been with my wife 27 years since high school. And something that him and I have come to the conclusion, and part of the reason the world is the way it is because people don't value their time. And they've lost respect for their time. So in turn, they don't respect anybody else's time.
Hmm.
You follow where I'm going with that? So when you say, should people go to the site and join if they want to waste their time, go become just an affiliate or a mail list guy who gets free stuff and waste your time. If you want to get down to the bread and butter and open it up and get in there and look, you got 60 days to drive it around. And if you don't like it, you just say, I don't like it. But personally, me, I don't waste my time on it. I got better things. I can go fishing and make no money. I don't need to sit around a computer and wait for free things and make no money.
Right.
So I was taught that lesson, and I'm not treating my valuable time because my time is irreplaceable. See, everything on earth is replaceable. Everything except your time.
Hmm.
Once your time runs out, it's over. When my father-in-law was dying, laying on that bed, all the riches on this planet, I couldn't buy him a second of time.
Yeah.
That was it. Boy, and I'm telling you, when I was 15, I lost my grandmother. Didn't affect me so much. I lose my father-in-law at 45. Now I'm a grown man. I'm like, wow, man, everything him and I talked about has a lot of merit, So you asked me the question, and I answered it as sincerely as I could. I'm not going to sit around and waste my time. If I want something, I'm going to go look. And if I know I got a 60-day money-back guarantee, somebody said to me, Jess, you can test drive this car for 2 days, and if you don't like it, in 3 days or 4 days, I might do it. If I want the car, I'm going to go get the car.
Yeah.
If I don't like it, I got nothing to lose.
Right.
You follow me? So why waste my time with free nonsense? I'm just going to go look. If I don't like it, I'm going to decide in 24 hours. I don't need 2 months.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's simple. That's the way I always recommend it. It's just the curiosity of mine. That's the way I operate. Is I just eliminate things out of my life so I have more free time with my family and for myself, and to do things like this with you, and share with others. So yeah, my time is very, very valuable. I don't know about yours, but mine is. I won't allow anybody, including myself, to waste it. I won't do it. I won't.
So when people become a member, what's the first thing they get? Like, can they start? Can they start acting on it straight away? Will they get letters and templates? And can they start, sending letters to banks and debt collectors and begin the process straight away?
Yeah, straight away. But just here's the deal. Remember, there's a huge white elephant inside that website. And you can eat the entire elephant and choke to death.
Hmm.
Or you can eat that elephant one bite at a time. and eventually gobble it all up. And
Right.
that's really the way you have to do it. You can't get in there all excited and all these letters and templates and you know, I've got thousands of hours of phone calls and recorded calls and webinars, and you have to say, what's my problem right now? I got a debt collector harassing me, just about to sue me, or I'm being sued, or I'm in court, you know. I need to handle this now. Forget everything else on the website. Go right to that. Resolve your issue. Once you resolve that issue and you have it under control, then you can go meandering around.
Right.
Problem is people jump in there and they want to tackle the whole world at one time. You can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't do it. You will choke on that elephant. You will absolutely choke and die. You
Right.
cannot do that. You absolutely need to focus. If you're in foreclosure, get your foreclosure under control. Look at all your options. Look at all your solutions. Get it under control. When you have that under control, then go say, okay, I got credit cards I got to go deal with now. My home is more important than the credit card debt. You follow?
Right.
So you have to prioritize. And the site's meant to reduce stress or eliminate it and actually prosper from it. And again, like I said earlier, when the phone rings, you chuckle. When you go to your mailbox, you laugh all the way back to your house, thinking, I just made $3,000 or $2,000 or $5,000 or whatever the case may be. And if you're responsible, you'll take your winnings, right? Like the booty, as the pirates used to say, take the booty and stash it, because there will come a day, there's no doubt about it, that you will have to go. There's no ifs, ands about it with a foreclosure. Matter of fact, one of my friends had a trial yesterday here with a senior judge who's really not even a judge, but who's going to argue with them because the system's broke, so you can't ever go to somebody other than a judge and say, hey, that judge is not correct. Okay, so we have to collapse the system and start over. But regardless, she brings 3 witnesses. She has affidavits. She has proof. She has everything that service wasn't done correctly. The guy testifies. She actually makes the guy look like a total idiot and a liar, and the judge still ruled in the bank's favor.
Right.
You can't control that.
Right.
You follow? Does it mean she's going to lose the home? No. She's been in it over 5 years. She's going to do an appeal. She'll probably win her appeal because that was a bad decision and everything will start over again. But will she lose it in the end, whether it be 5 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years? You know, what I say is this. We teach you on the site how to take it, and I'll give you an example. My home was $900 and something thousand home in 2005. By 2008, it was worth $230,000. Okay, so what's that? 700,000 roughly it's lost.
Yeah.
Now it's back up to around 300,000. Bank of America is wanting for me to accept a loan modification at $330,000.
Right.
As you know, Ben, I've been married 27 years. My wife really likes her property in her home. So I told her, honey, 330 grand from 700 grand. What do you think? She was so damn elated, Ben, I couldn't tell you. She said, are you kidding me? I said, no, I'm not kidding you. I said, listen, I'll do it if that's what you want. It's not worth fighting anymore. I've gotten my 300 grand out of them, and they've reduced the principal almost $300,000 or $700,000. What more can I ask for?
Right.
See, that's the honesty. So take it.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Wow. I'm not familiar with the process. So they actually wrote down the amount, 300 grand.
Yeah. Let me
Incredible.
see. Hold on. Get you the, I got the documentation sitting right here. Yeah, there's no doubt that they will actually do a principal reduction when they, you know, and it's all a matter of what? What is it? Why would they do that? Because I've got them in a very peculiar and precarious position, right? They don't know exactly what's going to be the outcome of their lawsuit. I have them in contempt of court. Using our system, I've got them in contempt of court now, and it's been 5 years, 5.5 years. So what's the outcome? And they have the note, by the way. They have the original promissory note sitting in the file. It's been sitting in the file for 4 years.
Right.
But I asked them 2 very, very simple questions that they've been ordered to answer, and they've been him-hawing around or throwing out some nonsense, and the judge won't have it. because when they filed the lawsuit, it said that they had lost the note. It had been lost, stolen, or destroyed.
Oh, so they lied.
And all of a sudden, a year later, they show up with the note. So in the discovery process, I asked a very simple question. Which count in the complaint is untrue? You see how just the simplicity of the question drives the nail down so hard they don't know what the heck to do with it.
So, so you've got them by the ghoulies, as we say in England.
Yeah, I didn't even get them a chance to drop count 1 or count 2, which was a lost note count, because in the discovery and in the admissions, please point out which count within the complaint is untrue. And then the second question is, please explain why.
Right. Right.
And the judge just says, answer the damn question. And if they know if they answer it, the whole case goes away. And they have to start over because they lied to the court right from the beginning.
Right. Right. So they don't want to go anywhere near that lawsuit because.
But those are the only 2 questions I've asked. In 5.5 years, all of our discovery, I have 2 questions. That's it.
Yeah.
I've had to do no more discovery. My case probably has 5.5 years. This house probably has 10 hours of work into it, maybe.
And they renegotiated the principal amount down 300 grand.
Here it is. How this modification will work. Unpaid principal balance of $504,000. Unpaid interest and advances $64,000. Principal reduction $336,000.
Wow.
Yeah, principal balance will be $330,000.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Incredible.
39%. I'm sorry. Total outstanding will be a 41% reduction.
So people out there that have got mortgages, is it possible for them to achieve something similar, do you think?
I just read it to you.
Hmm.
Why wouldn't they be? It's a matter of doing. Listen, Ben, you know as well as I do. You've been around this for a lot of years. Get away from the telly. Get away from the radio. Forget who's got talent and who doesn't, and forget all this other nonsense. Forget the YouTube. Forget the porn. Get out there and start putting a little time and effort into learning, and you'll see. Remember, again, an educated public is a dangerous public. They count on everybody remaining stupid. So if you just get out and educate yourself a little bit, just a little, they go, uh-oh, got one of those.
Yeah, right.
You know, when I send them a notice of appeal or a notice of intent to sue, I reference them and I encourage them to go to Pacer. Go look, see how many I've lost.
What's Pacer? That's where the results of the lawsuits are.
That's where every federal lawsuit in the United States is recorded.
Right. Oh, and
so they go over there.
They can see how many you've won.
Yeah, no, I just say go see how many I've lost. And they go and they come back and they always give me a settlement offer. But if you don't do the first one, you won't get to your 10th one.
Right.
You got to do the first one. Yeah, attorneys already know the name. They already know the name. They just go, oh, it's a Jesse guy again. Don't waste your time. Because they know I know more than they do.
Right.
You know, and I'm not tooting my own whistle. It's just it is what it is. I've always said keep it simple, stupid. I cannot quote to you statutes. I cannot quote to you sections of the law. That's not my forte. My forte is just using common sense.
Right.
It's nothing more. Well, wait a minute. If you said you lost the note, it was stolen or destroyed, and we know you have the note, well, here common sense says you lied. So which one of these counts is untruthful? You know, my other favorite question was, if it was stolen, please provide the police report with the date and time and the county where it was filed. If it was lost, please provide an employee affidavit and the report to the SEC because they have to report lost instruments to SEC. And there's a form that has to be filed. So please provide the form and the date and the copy of the form when it was lost. Right? And if it was destroyed, please provide in which manner it was destroyed, fire, flood, and please show the insurance claim and the date of the incident and where the incident occurred. So basically, I'm saying, okay, I want to go check the weather and make sure you weren't lying. And if it was stolen, you're going to show me the police report. And if it was lost, somebody has to have accountability for it was lost. It's got to be an employee report and the report that goes to the SEC and all that. Show me these things. That used to be the first set. And then they start showing up with a note and they drop that count. I thought, well, this ain't going to work. They figured it out after a couple of years,
Right.
I thought, okay. Well, then the next one is just tell me which one you lied about. That's it. Done. And you ask that before they show up with the note. Because, see, I've shown a lot of guys, I'll give you an example. A lot of our members will say, listen, I did a qualified written request, which is a letter we show you how to do, to the lender. And the lender will come back, they'll send you documentation, but it's the same documentation you have at the house, really. It's a closing package when you bought the place or you refinance. And it'll have a copy of your mortgage and your note. So they'll send you a copy of the mortgage and the note. And if you're in foreclosure, I said, that's what I want you to have. And this is what people don't know. We do securitizations audits also. But I'm not going to get into that now. But so now you have a copy that they sent you. I say, go reference it with the one in court. You'll go and you'll go to the courthouse. You'll pull the file on your foreclosure. And you'll look and you'll go, interesting. This note looks the same as the one they filed with the original complaint. But then the so-called alleged original note that they bring into the court doesn't match either one of those.
Oh.
It'll have an allonge, which is the stamp, or an endorsement, a blank endorsement, which it says pay to the order of, on that note. But what did that just prove? See here, Ben, there's a little trick. Of course, there's little things that we do that the attorneys don't do. They don't teach you guys to do. What I just proved beyond a shadow of a doubt is that when you filed the original complaint or you started the foreclosure action in a non-judicial state, you didn't have the original note. Therefore, you had no standing to bring the action.
Ah.
Because if you would have had the original note, you would have made a copy of the original note with that stamp that would reflect the same exact images that you have now.
Right.
Somehow in the process, you went ahead and filed the foreclosure hoping that down the road you would acquire the note.
Right.
You follow?
Yeah.
Again, keep it simple, stupid. Common sense. Wait a minute, these two don't match. You're showing me a note now, 2 years, 3 years later, doesn't match what you used when you filed the complaint.
Right.
They don't have the same endorsements or allonge attached. What's the problem?
See. Right.
Now
and they're
we
not
have-
allowed to do that.
Oh, that's typical. It happens in 90% of the cases.
Right. So like they're retrospectively creating, whatever was needed to justify the lawsuit in the first place, sort of thing, which they can't do.
Exactly. We're not working in a time machine, are we?
Right.
You can't go back. The old standard in law, and I don't care what country it is, you can't bring a cause of action hoping to get a cause of action. I can't sue you and then hopefully get something to sue you about later. It doesn't
Right.
work that way,
And that's effectively what they're doing.
That's exactly what they're doing. Yeah. So I mean, it's little tricks like that. The credit card. I'll give you an example. Another big one here that works real well, and I've won many cases, and our members have too. They'll come in and they'll say, well, we're suing under the contract and yada yada yada, and the contract they signed was under the laws of Delaware.
Right.
Did you know that Delaware has a statute of limitations for collections of 3 years?
I didn't know that. No.
Nobody knows that.
3 years.
South Dakota has 4 or 5, I think it is. And that's where all these banks are states. So if you're going to use the laws of South Dakota, the law says you can't collect anymore. I don't care if I live in Florida or in California. Your laws, since you said you're going to go under the laws and that agreement was under the laws of Delaware, sorry, you can't collect. Have a good day.
Right.
You see what I mean? These are little things that I've studied, that I've spent hours and hours poring over this stuff. Curiosity. What's a usury law in Delaware? What's a usury law? I did one where my wife came in and the guy from Capital One brought in like 24 months of statements, and some of those statements were zero balance back when I had a lot of money back in 2005 and 6. So I'd use $4,000 or $5,000 in credit, and then I'd just go ahead and pay it off every month. Well, some of those months they would charge you a $39 member fee and a $39 late fee because it was late a day or two. Well, how much is that interest when you compound the interest? Because remember, the law says that any fee they charge is considered interest.
Huh.
So you're charging me $70 interest on zero money. It's a zero balance. Turned out to be like 139% interest, 109% interest, 128% interest. I show the judge, and the judge says, dismissed, the whole thing, gone. You will take nothing. I have the order. Yeah, it's a done deal. The other one's the usury laws. 29% they charge some people if you're late 1 second. They come back, you were at 8%, now you're at 29%. Well, in the state of Florida, that's felony usury. In the state of Delaware, it's usury.
And they do that. They violate that law, do they?
Of course. So depending on where that bank is situated, if it's South Dakota or if it's Delaware, either way, you got them. It's usury in either state. So little things like this, again, little things like this help you stand up to these guys.
Wow. So they can find themselves faced with a felony charge potentially.
Yeah, the opening statement from the judge went back in his chambers. Judge LaGrange, guy's a nice retired guy. He's probably one of the fairest judges in the city. Went back in his chambers. My wife and I sat down. The other attorney on the other side was a little guy. Had piles of books. He brought piles of books. Piles. I had one folder in my hand the whole time. He is grasping at straws, And he said to my wife, the judge comes out a half an hour, 40 minutes later, and tells my wife to come up. And he says, how would you like to proceed with the felony loan sharking charge? That was his exact words. My wife turned around and looked at me. Didn't know what to say. She just smiled. She looked at me and she says, what do you mean, Your Honor? And he says, well, you can give me the order right this second and I will shut down every Chase bank in the state of Florida.
You're kidding.
No, swear to God. I have the order. It's on the site.
Jesus.
Yeah. Because
God.
of that felony loan sharking. Yeah. So she says, no. He says, but I wouldn't advise you do that. He says, but what I could do is I will order them to remove any and all fees, zero out the credit card, zero out the account, report it to the agencies as paid in full and good standing, and you go away with nothing. They go away with nothing. Everybody's happy.
Yeah.
And my wife looked back at me again, and I just nodded yes, because it's her case. I can't talk for her.
Right.
And she said, okay. The judge says that'll be done.
That's incredible. So in that moment, potentially, she had the power to shut down Chase in that state.
There's a lot of different ways to work it, man. People do not understand the simplicity because they think it's all a bunch of crazy legalese and all statutes and laws and rules and regulations, and common sense plays a bigger part in this than anything.
Right.
Common sense. You know what an account stated is? Have you ever heard that term?
I'm not familiar, no.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you've messed around with this. Account stated is the old ways. There'd be the corner grocery store.
Right.
And I would show up and say, okay, write this down for Jesse. I'm taking a dozen eggs and 2 chickens and a pork butt.
Right.
And then next week I'd show up and I'd do it again and again. At the end of the month, I just pay my bill.
Right.
That's an account stated. That'd be like an open bar at a tab, or a tab at a bar.
Right.
I'm sure you're familiar with that one.
Yeah, I am.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So, yeah, when you ring up, you walk up to the bartender and you know him. You say, okay, just run a tab for me. And at the end of the night, you pay your tab and you go home, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's open. That's an open account, what they call account stated here. So a lot of times when they lose the member agreements, which is 99.9% of the time, or the debt collectors come in with the so-called member agreement, and it one or two copies of some monthly statement and maybe a copy of a check that you used to pay with or something. They come in under account stated. And you tell them straight out, well, it's account stated. So you're asking for attorney's fees, correct? Yes. Well, where in the agreement does it say, oh, that's right, you don't have an agreement? So how are you charging me late interest, penalties, and attorney's fees? You're going account stated. You can't add anything because there's nothing there to add, number one. Now, number two is, and what laws are you using to prosecute this case with? Well, the laws of Delaware where there's no agreement. Now you're in the state of Florida, and if it was an open account, and all my purchases, well, majority of the purchases were done, say, in the state of Florida, which is the same case for most people, right? Then Florida law would apply. You can't use out-of-state law because it's an open-ended account here.
Right.
I'm a citizen here. The account was used here, and there's no agreement to dispute that fact. You agree? Well, good. Then you start hammering. Why? Because now you're coming in, you've asked the court for attorney's fees, compounded interest on the account, you've done this. Basically, you've violated two state laws by doing that because you weren't entitled to it.
Right.
Now you violated the FDCPA, the FCCPA, you go after the attorney, you go after the firm, and you go after the debt collector. Everybody scrambles. So it's $2,000, $2,000, and $2,000, $6,000. And your case goes away. And 90%, 95% of the time what will happen, they'll come back and say, tell you what we're going to do. We'll make everything go away, the account, you don't owe us nothing, we'll take it off your credit report, we'll do everything, you drop your case.
Yeah.
And depending on how much it is, well, it's worth it to them.
Right.
So you've resolved your issues. That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So listen, there's many, many ways to approach it. Again, it's just common sense. It's not a lot of things. It's just not, it's not complicated and it's not convoluted, and you don't have to be some brainy, lawyer type of guy or gal to understand this. This is just common sense.
You know what amazes me, Jesse? Every time I speak to you, it's different stories every time. And they're like, each one of them is wild stories every time. It's just never ending.
What do you mean by wild? I don't know. They're pretty conservative, I think.
Well, no, I mean that as a compliment. It's just these crazy results that are just unimaginable to most people.
Well, again, most people don't use common sense. Common sense isn't so common anymore. If you let yourself get overwhelmed with the legalese and the attorneys and their suits and ties, well, of course. But if you just roll in there, I'll ask every woman on this phone call when they listen to this, when would you let your spouse get away with anything? You chew their ear off. Right, man? You've had girlfriends.
Yeah.
Okay, why would you let anybody else do the same to you or your household? And men are the same way. If some guy's hitting on my wife or fooling around or doing something, I'll be right there in his face. I could care less who you are, how big you are, where you are. It's no different. Well, it's funny how you're scared of a judge or you're scared of an attorney. Really? Even though he's trying to screw you out of your house and your home and your credit card debt and all this other stuff, and understanding that it's all a big fantasy. It costs no more to print a pound than it does a 50-pound bill or a 100-pound or a $100 bill. It's the same fantasy money. It's got no value. We use paper every day to wipe our faces and our behinds. It's completely fantasy. Why are you scared of a system that's all a fantasy? It doesn't make any sense. It's like reality scares you more than the truth, or than fantasy does. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
So I don't get afraid. I try to outwit them using their own stuff. That's all. But I use common sense, and see, they're not used to common sense. They're used to convoluted legal arguments.
Right. They're just
we don't use those.
They're used to attorneys just trying to waste time and rack up their own fees, aren't they?
Yeah, you notice that whenever a prisoner goes to jail, it's always a plea bargain. You never, ever, ever get an attorney saying he's innocent. He's not guilty. Just plea bargain it. Just plea bargain it.
Right.
What? Why would I want to plea bargain something? I have a 50-50 chance of winning. You
Right.
know what I mean? So I look at all these things, and it leaves me dumbfounded sometimes. It leaves me very, very dumbfounded.
Hmm. It's amazing, Jesse. So, I guess people can come on the site, they can read more of these stories, and they can become a member. And there's like a support community, like they can speak to other members and stuff on the forum, right? And learn from other
Yes,
people's experience. And
yes.
yeah, so they're not just going to receive support from you; it's from each other as well.
Oh yeah, we have. Let me see here. Total. Hold on. Let me see. I don't know how many. Where would it show it on my forum? I'm here on the forum. Yeah, our posts are 12,869 posts with 3,800 topics.
Jesus.
Yeah, so I mean, anything. Our forum is open. A lot of people have formed local groups in their little cities.
Right.
You know, and don't forget, you can use two IP addresses.
Oh,
So
I see.
if
So
you
one
sign
member.
up,
Right.
yeah, one person, two people can pay the $49 and use it separately instead of one.
Right, so you can team up with a friend or a family member, and they can split the cost and both be members.
Yeah, not only split the cost, but you split the responsibilities.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, you go learn this, and I'm going to go learn this.
Yeah. That's great. That's really great.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, it is. Okay, so people need to get involved before Tuesday because that's when you're going to begin focusing on the telephone. Just remind us what that particular legislation was called again.
Oh, that's the Telephone Consumer Protection Act.
Right.
And of course, we put that together with the FDCPA, which is the Federal Debt Collection Practices Act, and whatever state law. We don't get involved in your state laws because we can't. It's just too much.
Right.
The federal law works in all 50 states.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But you have law, you have California has a Rosenthal Act. Florida has the Fair Credit Consumer Collection Practices Act. Texas has another one, the Texas Consumer Protection Act. Everywhere has their own. In Florida and California mirror image the federal. So it's $1,000, period.
Right.
So you got 1,000, and 1,500 for a call. It's $3,500. My wife got a call last night while I was doing our call on her cell phone. It's $3,500. Yeah, I mean, she called me ecstatic. She's like, I'm on my call, and she's trying to call me on my other phone, and I got a call, and I'm like, you're kidding me. Relax, woman.
Cha-ching.
Yeah, I mean, to her, that's great. We've looked at it as it's accountability, nothing else. It's just accountability.
Yeah.
I'm holding you accountable.
Yeah, absolutely. So when the initial payment to become a member, is it $99 and then it's $47 a month after that, right?
99 and 49.
Yeah, $99 for the initial thing. So yeah, benlarry.com/debt. I'm going to put it on the screen on this
Yeah,
YouTube
put it
video.
on that screen for sure because it's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's a good deal. I mean, like I said, you can't. There's nothing out there I know of that you'll get the returns that you'll get with this.
Hmm.
I don't know of anything.
Yeah, it's the real deal.
Yeah, it works. It works. It absolutely works. And again, for those of you that think it should be free, well, obviously you have no respect for anybody's time, including yours. So that's, I'll make that very clear right now. I'm very, what should I say, hard about that, I guess.
Yeah, there's always, some people that are going to say that no matter what you do in there in life. There's always people that want a free lunch and that type of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's no free lunches around here. Mine ain't even free. You
Yeah.
know, it doesn't work that way. So,
Awesome.
but anyway, man, it's awesome. When are you going to come to the States, man?
Oh,
Anytime soon?
yeah. I don't have anything planned. Oh my God, I feel a bit embarrassed that I'm not kind of doing this stuff that you're talking about in the UK. Uh, maybe I should start focusing on that. Maybe I'll be able to make some more money then.
Well, I would definitely consider doing it. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about it.
Maybe I
You
should
know,
look into it. I don't know why. I must be insane. I don't know why I've never spent the time to investigate and find out what, the local consumer protection law here is here,
I don't know either because we could have one heck of a website for the UK if you just got focused up on that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. Yeah, I should really look at that because it's bound to be similar, isn't it, in terms of
I know it's similar. I've seen it. I've had some of your guys out there send me some stuff, but they never follow through with it. You know.
right. Yeah, I need to take a look. I don't know what to tell you, Jesse. I'm not sure why I've not done it already. I need to take a look at that.
I don't know.
Yeah,
We could have one heck of a site going in the UK, you know.
yeah.
And I'm sure you guys got issues there too, just like we do here. There's no difference.
Sure,
In
sure.
fact, yours are actually worse than ours, except we have a worse president than anybody on the planet. But
Right.
other than that, you know, uh, it's all right up there. You know, we could do a lot of stuff in the UK if I had somebody there that would actually want to go do it.
Right. Leave it with me. Let me go and look at that because I'm kind of in need of a new project. So it might be about time that I kind of that I start looking at that. Yeah.
You know, I'm here, and again, I don't know if you can host calls there. I don't know how many listeners you have in the U.S. I don't know how many views our last video had.
Well, the first interview we did, I've lost track. I think it's had about 50,000 views, and I think the second one had like 20 or 30,000. I'm not sure. I haven't looked in a
It's
while.
up there.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So uh, yeah, it's a lot. Whatever it is, it's a lot, man.
Yeah. It's awesome. I really enjoy hearing all these stories. I can't tell you how much I enjoy chatting to you about this stuff, and I know that our listeners really, appreciate it as well. So I'm going to put all the information on the screen. The link is benlarry.com/debt. Leave that. Let me come back to you on that regarding the UK law. I'm going to go and take a look at that.
Yeah, that would be absolutely fantastic
Yeah,
if we could get something together. And I'm sure your listeners would really appreciate it.
yeah, yeah. They certainly would. Let me go and do that. Jesse, it's been great. I hope the Tuesday thing that you're going to focus on, goes great. I want to encourage all our listeners to go and, get involved with that and become members and, get involved with what you're doing because it's incredible.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, you've had 58,000 views on that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's amazing, isn't it? That's like a football stadium full of people.
Yeah, right. I mean, when you look at it,
Good morning, Jesse. How are you today?
There you go. I can hear it in the
there's the
background.
old one. Man, it just popped up. Let me shut it down. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Amazing. All right, Jesse. Well, it's been great speaking to you today. We've been going about an hour, so I guess that's enough for most people in one go. So, uh,
Okay.
um, yeah, let's speak again soon. I'll stay up to date with what you're doing, and thanks for everything you're doing. It's really awesome.
All right, buddy. I
All right.
appreciate it, man. And consider what we talked about. I think it would be good for you and for all your listeners over there. I
Yeah,
really do.
yeah, I will. I'll come back to you on that. So I'll speak to you soon about that.
All right, pal. You
All
take
right.
care, man. Keep up. You look great, buddy.
Thank you.
Keep up.
Have a nice day, Jesse. Take care.
You too, pal. Appreciate it, man.
Bye.
Bye bye.